My grandson told me I couldn't live with him anymore, in the house I still legally own. He didn't know that, but I did. And while he was celebrating his freedom from his burden of a grandmother, I was already 3 steps into taking everything back. Here's the truth they don't tell you about family. Blood doesn't mean loyalty. Sacrifice doesn't guarantee respect. And sometimes, the people you raise will forget you the moment you're no longer useful. But they also forget something else. You don't survive 68 years in Texas without learning how to fight back quietly. So if you've ever been thrown away by someone you gave everything to, stay with me. Because what happened next changed everything. And if you want to hear how a grandma took back her dignity, her home, and her peace, hit that subscribe button right now. You're going to want to see how this ends. My name is Margaret. I'm 68 years old, and I live in a small town outside Houston, Texas. I'm a widow. My husband, Bill, passed away from a heart attack 25 years ago. We didn't have much, but we had a home. A 2-bedroom house with a front porch, a magnolia tree in the yard, and a mortgage we'd just finished paying off the year he died. I thought I'd grow old in that house alone. But 3 months after Bill's funeral, my son and daughter-in-law died in a car accident on Interstate 10. Black ice, an 18-wheeler. They didn't suffer, the police said. I don't know if that's true, but I had to believe it. Their son, Tyler, was 3 years old. He became mine. I was 43. I wasn't planning to raise another child. But when the social worker brought him to my door, clutching a stuffed bear and crying for his mama, I didn't hesitate. I took his hand, brought him inside, and said, "You're safe now. Grandma's here." That's the day my life split in 2. Before Tyler, I worked as a nurse at the county hospital. I did 3 12-hour shifts a week, enough to cover my bills and maybe put a little away. After Tyler, I picked up double shifts, night shifts, weekend shifts, holidays. I worked every hour I could because private school wasn't cheap, and I wasn't going to let him grow up without opportunities. I sold my wedding ring when he was 7 to pay for a summer math camp. I sold my mother's pearl necklace when he was 12 to cover braces. I sold everything that had value except the house. The house was sacred. That was our foundation. Tyler was a good kid, quiet, smart, a little shy, but kind. He called me Grandma, but after a while, I think he forgot I wasn't his mom. I didn't mind. I loved him like he was mine from the beginning. When he got into Texas A&M, I cried for an hour in the bathroom at work. My supervisor found me and thought someone had died. "No," I told her, "someone's living." My boy got into college. I paid every cent of his tuition. I refused to let him take loans. I told him, "You focus on your studies. I'll handle the rest." And I did. I worked until my feet ached, until my back gave out, until I couldn't stand for more than 4 hours without sitting down. I developed arthritis in my knees. My doctor told me I needed to retire, to rest, to stop destroying my body. I told him I'd rest when Tyler graduated, and he did, with honors, a degree in finance, a job offer at a firm in Houston making more money in his first year than I'd made in 5. I was so proud I thought my heart would burst. He met Brittany 2 years later. She was a real estate agent, came from money. Her daddy owned half the commercial properties in Katy. She wore designer everything, drove a white Mercedes, and had that kind of confidence that comes from never worrying about a bill in your life. I'll be honest, I didn't like her right away. Not because she was rude. She wasn't. She was polite, sweet even. But there was something underneath, a coldness in her smile when she looked at my furniture, my dishes, my life. She'd say things like, "Margaret, you've done so much with so little," or "Tyler's so lucky you were able to give him a stable home considering." Considering what, I'd think? Considering I loved him? considering I didn't let him rot in the system. But I kept my mouth shut. Tyler loved her, and I wanted him to be happy. They got married when he was 26. I paid for half the wedding. Brittany's family paid for the other half, and you could tell. The flowers alone cost more than my first car. But I didn't complain. I smiled. I hugged them. I cried during the vows. And then, a week after the wedding, Tyler sat me down. "Grandma," he said, "Brittany and I have been talking. You've worked so hard your whole life. You've given me everything, and I want to give something back." He handed me a piece of paper, a deed transfer form. He wanted me to sign the house over to him. He said it was for my protection, for tax purposes, for estate planning. He said, "If something happens to you, this way it's easier. No probate, no legal mess, and you'll always have a place with us. Always." I stared at that paper for a long time. I should have asked questions. I should have called a lawyer, but I didn't, because I looked at his face, and I saw the little boy who used to crawl into my lap after nightmares, the boy I raised, the boy I trusted with my whole heart. So I signed it, and 2 months later, I moved out. They needed space, Tyler said. They were newlyweds. It made sense. I found a 1-bedroom apartment across town. It was small. The carpet was stained. The AC barely worked, but it was mine. And Tyler promised, "Grandma, anytime you want to come back, you can. You'll always have a place." I believed him. I decorated the apartment with the things I'd kept. Photos of Tyler at every age, Bill's Navy flag, my mother's Bible. I made it home. And for 2 years, it was fine. I visited Tyler and Brittany once a month. I brought casseroles. I asked about work. I tried to bond with Brittany, but she was always busy, always on her phone, always redecorating something. She got rid of my magnolia tree, said it blocked the light. She painted over the wallpaper I'd put up in the kitchen when Tyler was 5, said it was dated. She removed every picture of me from the walls, said she was going for a modern, minimalist aesthetic. I said nothing. It wasn't my house anymore. I'd given it away. But it hurt. Every single time. And then came the call. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was folding laundry in my apartment, listening to the radio, when my phone rang. Tyler. I smiled. He didn't call often anymore, but when he did, I treasured it. "Hey, honey," I said. "How are you?" There was a pause. Too long. "Hey, Grandma. I need to talk to you about something." His voice was tight, nervous. I sat down on the couch, my chest tightening. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. It's just, Brittany's pregnant." I gasped. "Tyler, that's wonderful. Oh my God, I'm going to be a great grandma." Yeah, it's great. But, that's kind of what I need to talk to you about." Another pause. "We've been thinking, with the baby coming, we're going to need a lot of space. And Brittany's really focused on, establishing boundaries, creating a healthy environment for our nuclear family." Nuclear family. I felt something cold slide down my spine. "Tyler, what are you saying?" "I'm saying, I don't think it's going to work for you to move back in, like at all. I know I said you'd always have a place, but things have changed. We need to focus on us right now. You understand, right?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. My throat had closed. "Grandma, that's my house, Tyler." The words came out before I could stop them. "I mean, I know you live there. But legally, it's ours now. You signed it over. And we're really grateful, we are. But we just need space. Brittany thinks it's important we start fresh as a family. Just the 3 of us. Just the 3 of you." I felt my hands start to shake. "I raised you," I whispered. "I know. And I love you. I'm not saying we won't see you. You can visit. We'll do holidays, birthdays, all that. But living here full time? It's just not going to work. He kept talking. Something about therapy, about healthy boundaries, about how Brittany's mom said it was important for young parents to have independence. I stopped listening. I hung up. I sat on my couch, staring at the wall, and felt my whole chest cave in. 2 days later, I drove to the house. My house. I needed to pick up some photo albums I'd left in the attic. Tyler said I could come by while they were both at work. He left the key under the mat. I walked inside, and I barely recognized it. The walls were white, sterile. The furniture was all new, gray, modern, expensive. The photos I'd hung for 40 years were gone, replaced by abstract art that meant nothing. I walked into the kitchen. My kitchen. The one where I'd made Tyler pancakes every Saturday morning for 20 years. Brittany had ripped out the old cabinets and installed sleek white ones, marble countertops, a wine fridge. I felt like a ghost in my own life. I went upstairs to the attic. I found the albums in a cardboard box, dusty and forgotten. I carried them downstairs, and that's when I heard her. Brittany was on the phone in the living room. I froze in the hallway. "Yeah, we got the house for free," she was saying. "Can you believe it? Tyler's grandma just signed it over. Old people are so easy to guilt." She laughed. A light, careless laugh. "I know, right? And now she's mad we don't want her moving back in. Like, ma'am, you did your part. Time to let go. This is our home now." I stood there, clutching the photo albums, my whole body shaking. I walked into the room. Brittany looked up, startled. Her smile faltered. "Oh, Margaret. I didn't know you were here." "I heard you," I said quietly. She blinked. "What?" "I heard what you said." Her face went red, then blank, then cold. "Look, Margaret, I don't know what you think you heard." I turned and walked out. I got in my car. I drove back to my apartment. I sat on the couch, and I cried until my ribs hurt. And then I stopped. I went to my closet. I pulled out an old filing box. Inside were decades of documents, tax returns, medical bills, Tyler's school records, and at the bottom, in a manila folder labeled House 2019, was the deed transfer. The one Tyler gave me, the one I signed. I pulled it out and stared at it, and then I noticed something I'd forgotten. I never notarized it. I never filed it with the county. I'd signed it, yes, but it was never recorded, which meant, legally, it was meaningless. The house was still mine. I sat there, holding that paper, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Power. I didn't do anything right away. I've lived long enough to know that anger makes you stupid, and I wasn't going to let rage destroy the one chance I had to make this right. So I made an appointment with a lawyer. Her name was Elena Ruiz. She was in her 50s, sharp-eyed, with a reputation for handling family law and elder abuse cases. I'd heard about her from a friend at church whose daughter had gone through a nasty divorce. I brought the folder, the unsigned, unfiled deed transfer, copies of everything I had. Elena read through it carefully. She looked up at me, her expression unreadable. "Mrs. Margaret," she said slowly, "do you understand what this means?" "I think so. This deed transfer is invalid. You signed it, but it was never notarized. It was never filed with the county. Legally, this house is still 100% yours. Your grandson has no claim to it." I felt my chest tighten. "So I can take it back?" "You never lost it." She leaned forward. "But if you want to do this right, you need to be smart. Don't let emotion make you sloppy. If you go in guns blazing, he can claim you're mentally unfit, that you're confused, that he was acting in your best interest. You need evidence, you need leverage, and you need a plan." I nodded. "Tell me what to do." Elena laid it out. "First, We'd gather proof that Tyler and Brittany had been living in the house under false pretenses. Second, we'd document any financial moves they'd made using the house as collateral. Third, we'd establish a legal paper trail showing I was of sound mind and had never intended to permanently transfer ownership. And then, Elena said, we move. Over the next 3 weeks, I became a spy in my own life. I visited the house twice more under the guise of picking up old belongings. Tyler let me in. He was polite, distant, but he didn't suspect anything. While he was upstairs, I photographed documents left on the kitchen counter. Loan papers, a home equity line of credit for $150,000, a refinance agreement. They'd taken out a loan against a house they didn't own. I took pictures of everything. The new furniture, the boat in the driveway, a sleek white speedboat with Brittany's initials on the side. I checked their social media. Brittany had posted photos from a resort in Cabo. Tyler had bought a BMW, all of it funded by my house. I also discovered something else. Brittany had been telling people I'd abandoned Tyler, that I'd chosen to move out, that I didn't want to be a grandmother, that I was distant and cold. She'd posted on Facebook, so grateful Tyler had the strength to set boundaries with toxic family. Our baby deserves a peaceful home. I screenshot it. I also recorded a phone call. I told Brittany I wanted to drop off a baby gift. She was sweet on the phone at first, then got annoyed when I asked about visiting more often. You know, Margaret, she said, I think it's best if we keep visits to holidays. We're really focused on our immediate family right now. You've done your part. It's time to let Tyler build his own life. Honestly, it's been such a relief not having you around all the time. You were kind of a burden. I recorded every word. When I met with Elena again, I had everything: photos, documents, audio, screenshots. She smiled. This is more than enough. We sat in her office, and she helped me draft a plan. Phase 1, legal reclamation. File a quiet title action to officially re-establish my ownership. Serve Tyler and Brittany with eviction papers. Phase 2, financial exposure. Report the fraudulent refinance to the bank. Freeze their access to the loan. Let their credit collapse. Phase 3, public reckoning. Prepare a media package and contact a local news station about elder financial abuse. Use it as leverage. Elena looked at me. Are you ready for this? I thought about Tyler's voice on the phone. Nuclear family. Boundaries. I thought about Brittany laughing. Old people are so easy to guilt. I nodded. Let's do it. Phase 1 happened on a Thursday morning. I filed the quiet title claim with the county court. Elena walked me through every step. Within 48 hours, the deed was officially re-recorded in my name. The house was mine again, legally, publicly, undeniably. And then the sheriff showed up at their door. I wasn't there, but Tyler called me 30 seconds later. Grandma, what the hell is going on? There's a sheriff here. He's handing us eviction papers. He says the house is yours. He says we have 30 days to vacate. This has to be a mistake. It's not a mistake, I said. My voice was calm, cold. I barely recognized it. What are you talking about? That deed transfer you had me sign? I never filed it. It's not legal. The house is still mine. It's always been mine. And you have 30 days to get out. There was silence. Then, Grandma, please, we can talk about this. I'll come over. We'll figure it out. There's nothing to figure out, Tyler. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. I hung up. He called back 6 times. I didn't answer. Brittany left a voicemail screaming about elder abuse, illegal eviction, and lawsuits. I deleted it. Phase 2 started the next week. I contacted the bank that had issued the home equity loan. I provided them with the court documents proving I was the sole legal owner. I explained that the loan had been taken out fraudulently, without my knowledge or consent. The bank launched an investigation. Within 10 days, Tyler and Brittany's access to the loan was frozen. Their credit cards were flagged. Their accounts were under review. And then the repo man came for the BMW. I happened to be driving past the house that morning. I parked across the street, sipping a gas station coffee, and watched as the tow truck pulled up. Brittany ran out of the house screaming. Tyler followed, trying to talk to the driver. It didn't matter. The car was hooked up and dragged away. Brittany turned on Tyler, shouting something I couldn't hear, but I could see her face, red, furious, blaming him. I took a sip of my coffee and drove away. Phase 3 was the hardest part, not because I didn't want to do it, but because it meant confronting the truth of what Tyler had become. I spent 3 days preparing a folder. Inside, photos of Tyler as a baby in my arms, his kindergarten graduation, his high school diploma, receipts from every tuition payment I'd ever made, the deed, the fraudulent loan documents, screenshots of Brittany's Facebook posts, the recording of her calling me a burden. I also wrote a letter, not angry, just sad. I didn't send it yet. I was waiting, because I knew they'd come. They showed up on day 29. I heard the knock at 6 in the evening. Hard, urgent. I looked through the peephole. Tyler and Brittany. I opened the door. Brittany pushed past me without asking. Tyler followed, his face pale and exhausted. "We need to talk," Brittany snapped. I closed the door. I didn't say anything. I just walked to the kitchen table and sat down. The folder was already there. "This is insane," Brittany said, pacing. "You can't do this. You can't just kick us out. We have rights. We've lived there for 2 years. We've put money into that house." "Money you stole," I said quietly. She stopped. "What?" I opened the folder. I pulled out the loan documents. I slid them across the table. "You took out $150,000 on a house you didn't own. That's fraud." Her face went white. Tyler sat down, his head in his hands. I pulled out the screenshots. Brittany's Facebook post, the recording transcript. "You called me a burden. You told people I abandoned Tyler. You said old people are easy to guilt." Brittany's mouth opened, but nothing came out. I looked at Tyler. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "I raised you," I said. My voice cracked, but I kept going. "I gave you everything. I worked myself into the ground so you could have a future. I sold everything I owned. I gave you my house because I trusted you." Tears were running down my face now, but I didn't stop. "And you let her erase me. You let her treat me like trash. You threw me away the second I wasn't useful anymore." Tyler finally looked up. His eyes were red. "Grandma, Don't," I said. "Don't apologize. Not yet." I pulled out the final document, a printed email. I contacted Channel 11 News. "They're running a story on elder financial abuse. It airs in 2 days. Your name, Brittany's name, the fraud, all of it." Brittany's face went gray. "My real estate license will probably be revoked." "Yes." "Tyler, your job. We'll probably fire you." "Yes." I leaned back. "Unless." "Unless what?" Tyler whispered. I told them my terms. They would move out immediately. No delays, no excuses. They would pay me $2,000 a month to live in a rental duplex I owned on the east side of town. Small, old, nothing like the house they'd stolen from me. They would post a public apology on social media, admitting what they did, thanking me for my grace, and they would not contact me again unless I gave them permission. Tyler stared at me. Brittany looked like she might throw up. "If you agree," I said, "I'll call the news station and kill the story." Brittany started crying, not sad tears, angry, humiliated tears. Tyler just nodded. "We'll do it," he said. I handed him the lease. He signed it with shaking hands. 3 months later, I'm standing in my kitchen. My kitchen. The walls are painted the color I like. soft yellow, like morning light. The old cabinets are back. I tore out Brittany's marble countertops and reinstalled the butcher block. Bill and I picked out 30 years ago. The magnolia tree is gone, but I planted a rose garden where it used to be. Pink and white roses. They bloom in the spring. I'm home. Tyler and Brittany are living in the duplex. Elena tells me they're paying rent on time. Brittany lost 2 clients after the fraud investigation. Tyler's in therapy. I feel no guilt. I've started going to a book club at the library. I've made friends. Women my age who've lived full lives and aren't afraid to laugh too loud or speak their minds. I also started volunteering at a women's shelter. I help survivors of financial abuse navigate the legal system. I tell them what I learned. You are not powerless. You are not too old. You are not too tired. You can fight back. One evening, I find a letter in my mailbox. It's from Tyler, handwritten, 5 pages. I sit on the porch and read it. He apologizes, deeply, without excuses. He says he was weak, that he let Brittany control him, that he was ashamed to admit how much he'd failed me. He doesn't ask for forgiveness, just understanding. I read it twice. I don't reply, but I don't throw it away either. I fold it carefully and tuck it into the folder, next to a photo of Tyler at age 4, holding my hand at the county fair. Maybe one day, I whisper. The sun is setting over the porch. The air smells like roses. I close my eyes and feel something I haven't felt in years. Free. Let me tell you something I've learned. Family isn't who you sacrifice for. It's who sacrifices back. Real love doesn't keep score. But real love also doesn't take everything and leave you with nothing. For 25 years, I gave Tyler my time, my money, my body, my home. I gave him everything I had because I loved him, because I believed that's what family does. But he taught me something I didn't want to learn. Sometimes, the people you raise will forget you. Sometimes, they'll use you up and walk away. And sometimes, you have to take your dignity back with your own 2 hands. I'm not telling you this story for pity. I'm telling you because maybe you've been there too. Maybe someone you loved made you feel small. Maybe someone took from you and never said thank you. Maybe you're still giving to people who stopped seeing you years ago. If that's you, I want you to know something. You are not a burden. You are not too old. You are not powerless. You teach people how to treat you. And if they won't learn, you teach them what it costs to lose you. So here's what I want to know. Have you ever been used by someone you loved? Have you ever had to take your power back? How did you do it? Tell me in the comments. Let's talk about it. Because I know I'm not the only one. If this story made you feel something, if you believe in dignity over obligation, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe. Because there are more stories like mine. Real stories. Hard stories. Stories about people who refuse to stay silent. You teach people how to treat you. I finally taught mine.